The best part about Japanese acupuncture is the collective knowledge base. For example, there were a group of brilliant doctors who got together and studied the brain activity of people who suffered earthquake in Japan. And what they realize is that there's a patterns that a lot of people have less activity in the frontal cortex area and excess activities in the back of the brain and in the side, including amygdala. And what they did is they acupuncture in one of the points here, zui, and combined with the exercise, they were able to turn around that brain activities that regulate so that this area has more activities and reduce the activities that was excess. And one of the most trusted acupuncturists at Tokyo University presented that information, that study other acupuncturists did, and he took that information in and tried it with his patient and what kind of setting he used on frequency-specific microcurrent and what the patient's results were, to another 500 acupuncturists who attended the lecture, and I was one of them. I practiced that method on some of my patients, and I'm getting a brilliant result. They feel like the stress is getting relieved as soon as I do that protocol. And then I also add with this Teishin tool to go over some of the very effective acupuncture point on the side of that head, which is known for releasing the stress. And I would like to mention that this frequency-specific microcurrent is very different from dry needling. The device is different and it's not painful. It creates a very small current, that electricity that a healthy body makes to heal the injured cells. Most patients fall asleep because it feels really good to needle with the microcurrent. There are about 180,000 acupuncturists in Japan. We share the big pictures of who else studied and what was their results and what they tried specifically. This seeing the whole pictures really, in my opinion, helps for learning how to become effective in treating our own patients. A second thing I want to mention about a subtle difference in needle technique and philosophy. This is one of the needle used by most acupuncturists in Japan. It's very thin and soft. And we don't believe in no pain, no gain philosophy. We practice the technique so that it's not painful. Once the needle is in, we manipulate. If you can see the subtle movement that I'm making with my fingers, I am vibrating a needle very fast. It affects the fascia around the needle at the surface level, and the fascia is connected to the deeper part of the body, and that's how we influence the passage, energetical passage, the way we need to as an acupuncturist. And how can this very tiny, thin needle become effective in treating patients? So let's say there are many acupuncture points on the inner side of the arm, and one of the point is mokko that I often use treating asthma and bronchitis patients, and it's right here. And what we learned to pass the board exam is that divide this length to 12, and the fifth point from the elbow is lung 5. But what we believe in Japan is that I train this part of my hand, and then when I go over, then I can feel the point specific for each patient. And what I learned is that treating this particular point, which is slightly different from what we learned in the textbook, with this thin needle with the specific manipulation is more effective than treating a textbook acupuncture point with a thicker needle with the stronger manipulation. And I'm very thankful that I learned earlier in my practice that I need to learn from the acupuncturists who train their sensitivities to be able to find the acupuncture point and manipulate it until it becomes effective. So if it is not effective, you need to practice a technique. or you needed to find the right acupuncture point for each patient. I treat a lot of bronchitis patients, and for each patient, the point that I use is slightly different because I check it for each patient. Then lastly, I want to talk about like how we think about the body as an overall. The patient comes in with a stress and can't sleep at night. And a lot of times when I check the shoulder and neck, their neck is very tight and the shoulder is sore. And when I do certain testing, some patients' shoulder is more sore when they do this movement, and others patient when they do this movement. Then a different passage is involved. And unless I worked on that particular passage for that patient, that stress and insomnia doesn't get improved. Similar example is a knee patient. When the old patient comes in with the knee pain, just needling locally does not provide a long-lasting result. If that person has a digestion issues, unless I resolve the digestion issues, that the pain relief on the knee does not last long. Regardless of the patient's current symptoms, we focus as much as that symptom and at the overall body balance. We really wanted to activate that inner healing power that each one of us has in the body through the acupuncture. So that is, I would say that's another big focus of the Japanese acupuncture. There are so many acupuncturists. The acupuncture you may have had from the acupuncturists with the Japanese style is most likely different from how I treat my patients and how other acupuncturists with the Japanese style acupuncture treat the patients. And I also know of brilliant doctors who specialize in Chinese acupuncture, Taiwanese acupuncture, and each acupuncture style is a bit different. And it's really up to you to recognize which style is working the best for you and which acupuncturist can help you bring the long-term effect in your health.